Hello guys, since my last video the front winds have been removed. The outer seal covers are back on the car. They are matte black. I wasn't particularly happy about that actually. I got the line a little bit too high, but I'm not going to bother too much. As you see, all the surface rust is just on the surface, on the outer panels. That's a common gut spot, that is. I don't know why they made these gutters. They are very, very poor at keeping away the water. But it's been hammerised underneath. I don't know if you can see, I've put new bullet connectors in. All the wiring for the front indicators were quite dodgy actually. One was very badly soldered on and half the bullet connectors were just falling apart. I've had a new gasket, new lenses from Jeff at Wins. Not that I'm promoting his business, but hey, the fella gives a very quick turnaround. Yeah, just snapped clean off. Also new screws, because half these front screws are just rounding themselves out. I've ordered some more for the rear ones as well. Yeah, I did add that as well. I thought that'd be a nice touch. Just looked a bit plain. I'm not one for badge bars, but yeah, that looks nice. That looks nice. I've got some more rubbers coming because these are falling to bits. The other wing is back on. I did a little bit of work actually. Oh, I've got new number plates coming. Now the purists might say that my yellow and white registration plates for an M reg is actually correct, which it is, but I don't like them. So I've gone and ordered some raised black, silver on black number plates. Cost me, fair amount actually, to be fairly honest with you, but they are going to look really nice, and it's one of the things that's going to make the car stand out a bit more. And to be fair, with a classic car, particularly Rover P6, you can get away with silver on black. It'll look quite nice. This was the issue. Again, I've ordered some new screws because they all just keep rounding. So I've got a complete set for both the rears. These two bastards didn't want to come out. Yeah, they didn't want to come out at all, to be honest with you. So what I had to do is snap the original off, snap it into bits, and literally get some pliers and just twist them off. I've got a new one, a used one, which is in actually a better condition than the old one, to be honest with you. So that's another job I've sorted out. I've got a foam somewhere for this because I ordered a complete gasket set for the rear ones as well. I changed that side, didn't change this because obviously I couldn't release these two at the time, and I couldn't be bothered, to be honest with you. But I've got it somewhere and I'll change it over. But all the light units are not that bad. The front ones are a little bit dodgy. I connected everything up and no power going to this side light bulb. But when I started twisting it, oh, it came on. So I've given it a good clean, and these units do corrode from the back. So if I have any other issues, I'll just get some decent used ones. Brand new ones, I'd love to afford them, but I can't justify buying a brand new one for 80, 90, 100 pounds new old stock. I just can't justify that price. It's like the wing guard door mirrors. They're so expensive. I mean, the ones on this car are actually Desmos, and they look really nice. They look like something that come off a Jaguar, to be honest with you. But they are nice. They don't look out of place. They don't look like cheap ones. So yeah, I quite like them actually, to be honest. And I actually, thanks to a very good friend of mine, who he knows who he is, he's given me a spare one because he reckoned that the base has less pitting than the one on my driver's side, and to be fair, he's right. There is less pitting on this, so I'm going to swap that over. Thank you so much, sir. New, as I say, new bumper irons. These are actually not the right. These are the correct ones. These are not the right ones at all. They don't sit flush, and they're supposed to go on the rears. Some people say that you can actually put them both on the front of the rears, but I don't think so. That doesn't fit right at all. These are actually, they fit flush. but these are the ones that need replacing. So I've ordered another one for that one and another one for that one, and I think that one's okay. Yeah. So yeah, just bits here and there, to be honest with you. So yeah, that's all good. Also, unfortunately, I discovered that I had a rather nasty leak from the thermostat housing. Now, what I found it to be, I thought it was something to do with the gasket, but nothing to do with that. This stud here, unfortunately, it is awful. It's not, this nut cannot tighten down. You just keep turning and turning and the stud turns with it. The thread has completely gone on the stud. Yeah, it's completely gone on the stud, so I've got a new one coming, and that should correct that. Hopefully no more leaks then, because I'm sick and tired of coolant leaking everywhere. I mean, there was this hose here which is in such an awkward position. It very rarely changes. I did change it 5 years ago. That's now tight as fuck, and so is this one. So hopefully no more leaks. I have had a really very good tidy up around here, to be honest with you. Most of this has come out at one time or the other. Believe it or not, this was actually quite a dirty engine bay when I bought it 6 years ago, and I just took everything off. And I'm not one for cleanliness and OCD, but I think when you take bits off the car to rebuild them, then you think, oh, I might as well clean it because I've made all the effort to take it off and rebuild it. So the end result is this. Trust me, I'm not OCD. You might laugh at that. That keeps falling off. I don't know why. Don't know why. But everything has been cleaned and all the electrics have been re-crimped. Some of these wires are a little bit short. Unfortunately, they've been chopped and crimped like 10 million times in their life, so the wires are quite short. This auto switch does not work. As soon as you pull the choke, oh, I showed you in the previous video, as soon as I pull the choke lever out, the choke light comes on. It's not supposed to do that. It's only supposed to come on when the engine's got to working temperature. But I have to leave this connected because it provides the circuit for the choke light. I don't know when I'm going to change that because it's a big job. I think it'll be when I next flush the system, including flushing the matrix. The heater's not bad actually. It's quite warm actually. It's never got to the point where I think, oh, I need to turn it down now. I really need to turn it off. I'm getting hot. I never feel like that ever, even though I do have the windows slightly cracked when I'm driving. Yeah, so little bits here and there. The system I've got on the car, I've got 12 volts going to a 3 ohm coil. Some people might say, well, what Lucas Gold sports coil, China crap. They're not as good as what they used to be. Probably not, but I've got a spare one in the boot. The old one, which is the wrong one. That's a 1.5 ohm coil. Inside here, you've got an AccuSpark module. And it's served me well for the last 4 years non-stop. I mean, okay, you've got better systems out there, probably get you a better performance, but this is not a performance car. It's a 2.2. Yes, it has been re-engined. A 2.2 automatic. You're not going to get much performance out of that anyway. So at the end of the day, I just want something that's going to make it easier to start, and it has been brilliant. As I say in the last video, 8mm HT leads. There's no point in having copper ones when you've got electronic ignition and a sports coil, because if you've got normal copper ones on, you're not going to produce a bigger spark or make the most of it. Same with the spark gaps. If you don't widen the spark gaps, there's no point in having this or this. It's pointless, absolutely pointless. But yeah, you need a 1.5 ohm coil. You can have a 1.5 ohm coil with points, with a ballast. But the ballast in this car, unfortunately, collapsed. Now the ballast is in the loom. It's hidden behind the dashboard, and I was getting absolutely no power from it. I was still using the electronic ignition, but I thought I'd try and run on points to see how it would run. Well, when it was running, it didn't run well, but then the ballast gave up. So that wire is now taped up down there inside the loom where I can't see it. So now we're running off a 12 volt feed which runs to the flasher relay, which provides, I think 12 volts comes on the side lights actually. Yeah, a bit paranoid about that because of how dodgy these are, but it's never failed, and it's always been very reliable. But yeah, about 1.5 ohm coils, not enough resistance for the module. You need 3 ohms of resistance when you use an electronic module, so bear that in mind. Yeah, everything's been looked at back here. That's a tip for you: if your delay's not working, take this apart, put a sponge in. Usually there's a sponge in here that provides a delay. If you push it in, it's quite firm, that is. But I wasn't getting anything. You could just push it in quite easily, or there's no resistance. I was getting no delay on that vacuum pipe. I put a bit of car wash sponge in, and I've now got 10 seconds of delay on max, which is brilliant. Tip for you on that one. I'm not going to go over the top, but as you can see, like, they've just cleaned around, and the front oil seal down there actually didn't need replacing. The garage years ago changed the head gasket, something that I wasn't confident in doing, so they did it for me. They put tons of gasket sealants in stupid places. It looked terrible. I had to wipe it off in the end. They didn't do a particularly good job because, well, they did a good job because the head gasket works and there's been no issues since. But they rushed the job, I think, because, well, one, they had to replace one of the tensioners because they weren't prepared for the fact that he springs out under pressure and splits into two. One went onto the sump and one went up. So they took the sump off, put the sump back on, but they obviously put the sump back on a bit too tightly because the oil seal started leaking then. And I thought it for quite a while. It was like that for a couple of years, and I wondered that it was just the seal that had gone, it and been disturbed, and it needs replacing, which was basically a crankshaft pulley off job. But actually, I loosened the bolts just a slight and it stopped leaking. Dry as a bone underneath, absolutely dry as a bone. So this is as good as it comes. Absolutely dry as a bone. Nothing under there. Oh yes. As you can see, some antifreeze on the bottom, just making its way down. Oh, it still leaks. In fact, there is some still there. I've got to have a look more closely because, yeah, you see some moisture. Yeah, you can see some moisture on the mount. I'm going to have a closer look, but it is a stud. It's completely gone. Right, guys, I'll let you go, and I will see you next time.